We all need them, but why exactly do we need them? For starters, we gotta make sure that we're actually locking our account information away from people that aren't us, right? That's the whole point of having a password. It's something that only us and trusted individuals have, which is mostly just us, right? We also need to make sure they're secure and that each one is unique. Now, why is that? Well, there's a few main reasons. So number one is it could be a highly repeatable password, so a lot of people use it, and if even one person gets hacked using that same password, it's going to be put on a list that usually surfs around the dark web that hackers are going to have easy access to. The other thing is there are a ton of programs out there that are dedicated to trying to crack your password from nothing, even just by cycling through every possible combination in the alphabet. There's a ton of different methods, but really, if it's all lowercase and like only 8 characters, you'll be lucky to last a couple minutes before your password is cracked. So, we're gonna take a look at some ways that we can make sure that our passwords are nice and secure. So we're gonna look at some do's, some major don'ts, and then a couple examples to give you a good idea of how to actually make these passwords. So first up, do's. What we wanna make sure is that we have a really secure password by making sure we have more characters than less. Most places nowadays, you're going to see there's a requirement of 8 characters or more. You definitely wanna trend on the longer end because the more characters that there are, it's gonna be a lot harder for a computer program to hash through each and every one because there's more characters that it has to try, right? Not to mention, if it's a person on the other side, they'll probably get bored of all the numbers or letters you're putting in. That leads us into number 2. I said numbers and letters. We wanna use a ton of different characters. So uppercase, lowercase, numbers, special characters even. These can help secure your password immensely. Because imagine if we only used lowercase letters, that's only 26 individual characters that we can end up using to make our password. Add uppercase along with that, boom, you've already doubled the possibilities. And it just keeps going up from there. Number 3 of the do's is you wanna make sure you've got a unique password. One that's not really thought of, more importantly, you've thought of it on your own. Because if someone else has already used that password, the likelihood that it's been hacked go up quite a bit. Great example is password 123 and 12345678. They get used a lot more than you might think they do. So make sure that you have a totally unique password only to not just you, but that account. Because if that account gets hacked and you have other accounts sharing that password, all of a sudden, whoever's hacked that has access to all of your accounts with the same password. Now for the don'ts. You really, really want to make sure you do not have any personal information as a part of your password. Never put your name in there, and definitely don't put your favorite color or say your family pet or what street you grew up on. Because you've probably heard all those questions before, because those are your security questions. Not to mention, don't put anything that is open knowledge as part of your password. It doesn't take much to find you on Facebook and end up figuring out your password from there. Next on our list of major don'ts is using the same password multiple times. Really, that is the number one thing you gotta make sure of. Each and every account has a unique password. Because even if it's an account that really doesn't matter, what if it shared the same password as your bank account? That's some seriously scary stuff there. Last up on our list of don'ts is using only the bare minimum for your password. So when you're making that password, it's gonna tell you everything that site or that account requires. Don't just only barely fill it out. That's there to help you make sure your password is secure and strong. If it is trending to the weaker side and it's gonna let you through anyway, it will not take long to end up hashing through or cracking that password. All right, so we've looked at some major do's, major don'ts. Now let's take a look at some tried and true methods to help you get a really nice secure password. So first up is not really a password, it's actually a passphrase. So a password implies we're just one word, right? But a phrase could be an entire sentence. Like a really good example would be, say, a quote that doesn't really have much to do with you, but it's one you can remember. So we're going to use "so long and thanks for all the fish" for today. So that works pretty well, except it's all in English right now, right? That's not really super secure because they're all just normal words. And make it more secure is I can jumble up the letters and end up turning them to what I call alphanumeric text. So you're replacing some letters with numbers and different special characters. So H could be a hashtag, or T could be a 7, like stuff like that. Believe it or not, simply by doing that alone and changing up what the individual characters mean and what they are, really beef up your password, because it's not super easy to guess exactly what all your password means to just an average person, and a computer is going to have a tougher time because there's too many combinations at this point. Now, some accounts won't let you have a super long password. In those cases, you can end up abbreviating. Let's say for this password, we're just going to take the first letter from each one of the words and put that into a line. Yeah, it's only 9 characters, but I mean, it's still jumbled up. It doesn't mean anyone to anyone else, but it means something to me. Our second method is going to be one popularized by the web cartoonist XKCD. So the way this one works is you take 4 seemingly random words. So we're going to use his example of correct, horse, battery, and staple. They mean literally nothing when you put them all together. But what he recommends, and it really works pretty well, you take those words. I like to put special characters in between to break them up and change up some of the capitalization. So like maybe one word's capitalized at the beginning and another isn't. But you end up making a story out of these 4 random words that have nothing to do with each other. So like right here, this is his story of correct, horse, battery, staple. I mean, once you've got a story set up with it, it becomes really easy to memorize. And he actually has in his comic a rough calculation of how long it would take. It takes about 500 years to crack that sort of password, just in the example alone. And our last method is going to be using a password manager. So password managers kind of take away having to make and memorize the password, take that task away from you, and it will end up storing and safely categorizing every password that you have. So this is stuff like LastPass, OnePass, Dashlane. There's a ton of them out nowadays. And they end up taking the task of generating a random set of characters that work just like our abbreviated passphrase, but they could be strengthened up to where you can't even say what they are because it's not legible English. It could even be changed to where it's not easy to type. That's one check mark you can actually change to. There's so many possibilities, but the main thing is you have just one password that you are responsible for remembering. So all you have to do is make sure that you've got one really strong password there that is not used for any other account, no matter what. And then you've pretty much got a vault full of super secure passwords that in some cases, it'll even let you know if there's repeats of your password or if someone's hacked in and has a copy of your password floating around on the dark web. And they'll send you a notification and have you change it right there on the spot. It really helps take all the stress of remembering every password you have. So that's gonna be it for making a secure password today. If you liked this video, found it helpful, make sure to hit the like button down below and maybe make sure you're subscribed to the channel for all the upcoming videos we've got coming out. Also, you might want to take a look at some of the other videos we've already done in the past. Maybe there's something that'll interest you. Well, with that being said, thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time.